Hey guys, what is up? Sean here from Sled Strength. Calories, carbs, later in the day. Will you turn into a whale if you eat them then? That is the question for today, and we are going to figure that out. So, there is this saying that I've heard a lot of people, or advice rather, that I've heard a lot of people give to others trying to lose weight, that you need to cut off carbs or calories after a certain amount, or after a certain point in the day if you want to lose fat. So they tell people, like, for instance, okay, it's 7 p.m. now, you know what? No more carbs. If you have any more carbs, you are going to put on an incredible amount of fat that you otherwise would not if you had those carbs earlier in the day. And I'm just going to be straight with you guys here. Utter bullshit. Utter bullshit. This so-called carb cutoff, calorie cutoff myth is just that. It's a myth. There is no evidence whatsoever that suggests that eating calories or carbs later in the day has any more of a fattening effect than eating those same carbs or calories at any other time. And that is just the reality. There's no scientific evidence whatsoever. There's actually the opposite. To the contrary, there is evidence that shows that eating more of your calories later in the day is actually better for fat loss and better for maintaining muscle mass in a calorie deficit than eating those calories earlier in the day. Now I'm going to get to that in a second. But first off, I want to talk about where this whole myth stems from, if there's no evidence that suggests it's true. And I think where it stems from is that a lot of overweight people tend to eat their calories later in the day. They tend to be sedentary. They tend to be watching TV, eating an excess amount of calories, and it's just the lifestyle in general that leads to that obesity, to that overweightness, not the eating of the calories at night. That has nothing to do with it. It is the overall excess of calories that's leading to that obeseness. And then people, they look at that and then they correlate that with the eating at night, and that simply has nothing to do with it. It's just that excess of calories that is leading to being overweight, not the fact that they're eating those calories at night. Just they're eating too much. And alright, so to these studies, I ran across a couple 12-week studies actually that it had okay, so first off, there's two groups here. They're each eating the exact same amount of calories. And just one of the groups is having their calories from 6 p.m. until they go to bed. And the other group is having their calories from morning to 6 p.m. So we got a group that's eating all their calories earlier in the day, and we got a group that's eating their calories later in the day. And they did this for 12 weeks at the exact same amount of calories for each group. And what this study showed is that the group that was eating the calories later in the day actually lost more fat and were better able to maintain their muscle mass than the group eating calories earlier in the day. So there's actually research that is showing the exact opposite of this whole carb cutoff myth. And the reason why I think that is that at the same amount of calories that the group eating later in the day is actually losing more fat and gaining more muscle is because as time goes on in the day, your whole hormonal profile tends to be a little more favorable towards that fat loss and towards maintaining or gaining muscle. So in other words, you have better nutrient partitioning later in the day. You're better able to store nutrients in muscle tissue and less in fat later in the day. And I wanted to, I'm not saying that everyone should be eating all their calories later in the day. This is just more so to destroy this whole myth that you can't eat carbs or you can't eat calories later in the day, because that is just untrue. There is nothing negative whatsoever about having calories at a certain time later in the day. You're not going to add any more fat. From studies, it actually shows that it's better. barring it's the same calorie intake. Because I mean, if you overeat at any time of the day, you're going to get fat. It doesn't matter. So that overall calorie intake, as I've been trying to hammer away here in my videos, is the most important thing. Making sure that you are eating less calories than you are burning is what's going to lead to fat loss. And what I'm trying to prove here is just that eating those carbs late at night that a lot of people suggest doesn't matter. You know, you don't have to cut off carbs at a certain time. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next time.